Welcome, everybody, to yet another episode of the Dream Crushers podcast.
Indeed.
We'll intro it anyways. Today we're talking about self-auditing and how it's important in your life and how you need to basically, this is going to be yours.
Yeah. So,
Tag, you're it.
basically, you know that feeling that you get when the New Year's comes around and you're about to start the new year and you kind of look over the year that you just had. It's kind of a time of reflection when we all are like, oh yeah, that was a pretty good year, that was a shitty year, and then you look ahead and you're like, oh, like what do I want for, the next year, 2019, whatever year it is, and you kind of look at things from a slightly different perspective that you normally do throughout the year when you're just kind of in it. And a lot of people, what do? They decide, okay, new year, new me. I'm gonna go on a diet. I'm gonna work a little bit harder. Stop eating all that shit I shouldn't be eating. I'm gonna work out more, get my gym membership going. You try and better yourself because you're looking at yourself with critiquing eyes and you're saying, what can I do better than I did last year, this year? Today, we're going to kind of talk about that, but it's more self-auditing on a regular basis. To me, that's what self-auditing is. It's that New Year's looking back and then looking forward. What do I want to do different? How am I now? Are there things I want to do different? And are there things that I'm doing that are good? Am I on the right path? And I think for anybody that wants to have a happy or good or successful life, it's super important part of it to look at how you're doing currently and then compare it to how you want to be. Are you where you're at right now? Are you happy? And in order to change something, you have to first know that it's not how you want it. And so that's kind of what self-auditing is to me, and so that's what we're going to kind of dig into today.
Right on. So basically, this will fit into, everything? Just the mindset and success?
Yeah.
Motivation and all that? It sounds to me like this is basically going to be the basis for all of that. And
to kind of link everything together, the act of looking inward, self-auditing, so to say, looking at yourself from kind of an outward view, that is essentially mindfulness. That is seeing where you're at from an honest point of view. And if you guys haven't been following along or watched any of our other videos, one of our videos is actually about mindfulness and meditation, and so they'll kind of like link together. This one isn't really about meditation at all, but the mindfulness aspect of it, being aware of where you're at.
So this self-audit, what is this? Is this daily, monthly?
Well,
I can't imagine yearly because we're not doing
the self-auditing yearly is the whole New Year's resolution thing. So
and it doesn't work.
It works for a certain amount of time.
A very short period of time.
But what happens, you go for a month, you're going to the gym, you're doing right, you're making changes, but then you slowly and steadily slip back into your old ways. Why? I think it's because you get comfortable again. And you're not checking in on yourself. You're not saying, okay, where am I? Am I at a goal that I set? Am I happy with the progress I've made? And what's a future goal that I want to set? We kind of stop and we just kind of go back to how we were. And I think that's the problem. I think if you can kind of check in with yourself or self-audit yourself monthly, weekly, whatever it is, you don't want to, for some people it's going to be different. Some people like to take 10 minutes in the morning, look at their day, what do they want from the day, and that can be a lot for some people. I definitely don't do that. That's a little bit much. But even if you do it, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, even if you did it monthly, I think it would be a huge improvement over doing it once a year, for sure. If once a month, you say whatever it is on the first of the month or on the last day of the month, you say, okay, like how was my month? It's really important to have reflection time where you are just totally focused on yourself. It's important to be selfish if you want to be good for the other people in your life. A lot of times selfishness is looked as only negative, but I think it's important. If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody around you, your family, your kids, your wife. You got to take care of self first to make sure that you're on the right path. And once you do that, you're a much better role model, strong person that can help the people around you.
Put your oxygen mask on first before you help the person next to you.
Yeah, it's like an airplane. That's what they say.
So, for me, I think this is going to be different for lazy people. I am a lazy people. And I feel like I'm going to be the guy that needs to do it on the daily.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, I get motivated. Basically the same as the resolution thing. I'll get motivated. I'll want to do some stuff. And by the end of the day,
yeah.
I'm like, screw that.
Yeah.
So, tell me if this is the route that you're going. I feel like goals need to be set at the beginning of the day. Again, for lazy people. There's a lot of people that are super motivated and probably don't even need to do it, but maybe once a week or once a month, hell, maybe even a year. But for me, because I'm lazy, I need to set some goals, and then the self-audit comes at the end of the day, and I don't know, it would probably have some questions like, I'm trying to start a business, so did you do one thing today? Again, for lazy people. Other people probably wouldn't need these questions, but did you do one thing today to better the business, to get it rolling,
bring value to it?
Did you do one thing a day to better yourself?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Basically something to bring you towards the larger goal, because there's so many days where I'll just fuck off in the garage and not do anything. So
yeah, I think it's super important. Also, I'm a big believer that if you're not moving forward, then you're probably moving backwards. And so if you're not thinking, if you feel stagnant and you're not thinking about, where you want to be tomorrow or where you want to be next month, you're probably slowly sliding into a place where you don't want to be, where you're going to be less happy. So I think it's important to constantly think, okay, like, how close am I to the goal? Am I just wasting time? Am I just sitting on Netflix and Instagram for the last week? Just, and there's a lot of good stuff. I love Netflix. I love Instagram, but like, are you doing it in a way that is going to be productive in some way? I think it's also big to take time out for like relaxation time, for sure. But is it all that? Is it all just laziness? Is it all just sitting around doing nothing productive and you're just kind of not going anywhere towards where you want to be? And I think this applies to everything from business to health to relationships. Did you do anything today that made your relationship with your loved one a little bit better? Or were you really lazy and you maybe didn't take out the trash when they asked you to, or, surprise them with some flowers or something, and you just didn't do anything because you were just kind of lazy that day or that week, and your relationship isn't continuing onward and upward,
So it's going to be kind of a recurring topic almost constantly. This is like a structured way of bringing accountability to your life.
Yeah,
Again,
same thing. It is accountability. It's like self-accountability.
But yeah, we're on autopilot most of the time. And when I say I'm some people aren't, some people are, but I'm on autopilot.
Oh yeah, it's super easy to go there.
Know that. So basically, this is just taking you out of autopilot and making sure that you're still in a little bit of control of your life, because I think so much, and I struggle with it more than a lot of people, and it's just, you wake up and then you just do, and you're not really thinking. Nothing is there's no structure to it. And so unless I have, this is going to be silly, but I think is that a spider?
Yeah, it's a tiny spider. There was a tiny spider on my face.
Make a wish. So, bringing accountability, structure to your life. So, what are some questions? Would you have questions for yourself in this audit? Or
yeah,
is it just
I would say trying to kind of ask questions from the perspective of maybe like the audience. Okay, like, where do I start? What do I do? What am I asking myself? And I would say you would have to start with, what do you want out of life? And to to pause that for a second, I was watching this video with Tony Robbins last week, and he was saying that one of the biggest factors into somebody being unhappy or happy is where they're at in life in comparison to where they think they should be in life. So it has nothing to do with money, success, kids, family. It's all about that contrast of, okay, I have 3 kids and I have a beautiful wife, but in my head, what I was really hoping for at this stage in my life while having the kids and the wife was to be at this level in my job, but I'm not there yet. So even though they have the family and the kids and everything, they just don't, something feels off, they don't feel that they're at the level that they thought that they would be at. A lot of people are like, okay, by the time I'm 30, I want to be making $100,000. I want to have my own house, have my own car that's paid off. And, maybe they're about to turn 30 or maybe they're 32 and they have a car, but they're making payments on it and they're renting a house, and it just doesn't line up. It seems like almost the same things, but in their head, it's not where they thought that they would be. And Tony really believes that is what makes people feel unhappy, is not being where they're at in comparison to where they thought that they would be.
So it's a midlife crisis kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, life is not what I thought it was, basically. And so I think to mitigate that, to help with that whole thing, it's important to have goals for yourself and make sure that you're working towards them, because progress is also a big thing that I believe will bring happiness to you as well. It's not really about being rich and famous. It's the act of doing it. It's the upward motion. It's being progressive and saying, okay, this month I've been able to save a good amount of money. I have this house in my sights that I want to get, and I'm working towards that. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working towards it, and I see myself within the next month, I'm going to get there. I'm going to achieve that goal, and that feeling is amazing, And so I think you have to set the goals, and then, like we said, if you check in on yourself, make sure that you're doing something kind of on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, whatever it is, work towards that. And I think that it's a big help, because I found myself, like we've talked about before on other videos, I was just kind of on autopilot. I was in my career path, and I had my truck and whatever, and I didn't really set any more new goals for myself, and I was just kind of cruising along, and I kind of felt I wasn't like unhappy, but I just kind of felt blah. I was just kind of stagnant. And so I was like, what do I need to do here? What do I need to fix? What do I need to make a goal of, so I can work towards it and feel that progress? And so I would say start there, set some goals, even really small ones. For the whole thing with the New Year's resolution, I feel like we set like giant goals, because we kind of set it out as we have a year. I have a year to achieve this, so it's not unlikely for me to be able to get abs in a year. And it's like, yeah, as long as you stick with that. But if you say, okay, instead of saying I want abs by the end of the year, you say I want to go to the gym 3 times by the end of this week. You make it smaller. You're building a giant brick wall. You're not looking at the giant brick wall you're trying to build. You're working on the brick by brick by brick. You set it up as pieces, and it just makes it so it's easier to see the goal if you keep on checking in yourself. Kind of do it at a smaller basis. You kind of micromanage it.
So it's interesting how goals work anyways. I mean, goals can either motivate you. We talked again in another previous video about accomplishing certain things, creating motivation. And so goals can either motivate you more, or they can bring you down. If you do what Kyle said, you make a huge goal and it's much harder to get to, you don't get the results right away. So you feel like you're not getting anywhere. So rather than having a goal of cleaning your whole house today, you have the goal of cleaning up the bathroom counter. And then when you see that done, for me, it's super motivating. It's like, wow, that looks so good. And you're just pumped up, and it's cleaning.
The momentum.
Seriously, how do you get pumped up with cleaning? But it works, and you get stuff done. And so that's anything, like you said. Just the feeling of getting goals done. So if you set smaller goals, this is kind of off topic, but paying bills, they say a lot of times that you should start with the smaller ones sooner, because if it doesn't feel good to pay bills, but it feels good to pay off bills. So if you have a $70 debt here and you've got a $13,000 debt here, don't start whittling around on that one, because you'll eventually get there, but you're not going to get the results, and you're not going to. So start with the smaller ones. So smaller goals, do that. Makes you feel really good. Try not to set goals that are too big. That almost sounds
I think it's
wrong.
Well,
I
think you should have both. I think you should for sure have your 10-year goals. You know, I want to be a millionaire in 10 years. You know, that's important. But to work towards that, you need to set smaller goals so that you can find your path. It's like saying, I want to walk from here. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's like I want to walk from here to New York. And if this was just like the Sahara Desert in between us and there was no roads to anywhere, you would have no idea where to start walking. It's so far away you can't see it, and so it's difficult to get there. But if you say, okay, I want to walk to the next town over. Eventually, I want to get to New York, but I want to walk to the next town over. I think it's by the mountains over here. I can kind of see it. I'm going to start walking in that direction. It gives you a pinpoint to go to, so you don't feel just completely lost and drowning in the ocean of what you want to get done.
Small goals and actually get them done.
Yeah. And momentum. The momentum of when you complete something smaller, it pumps you up, like Aaron said. You get excited, and then it makes you want to do more. And that it's a snowball effect, you know. It compounds itself.
So it's going to vary person to person, but I'm going to give you my advice, and it's something that I'm doing right now, even though I never called it self-auditing until we started talking about it. But it is that one thing every day, and that sounds like a lot, but if you think about people that are actually successful, unlike me, people that have actually done stuff and are making millions of dollars, one thing a day will sound absolutely absurd to them, because they're the people that are like, you're in it 20 hours in the day, you get a little bit of sleep, and it's definitely a good start. Just one thing every day, and that it makes my days feel better. And if you ask my wife, I get a little bit grumpy when something happens, when we have like a get together or something like that with friends, and I don't get to do my one thing a day. It puts me in a really foul mood, which is probably something else I need to handle, something else to talk about on a different topic. But just make plans. I feel like even if it doesn't have to be super structured, just think of something like, I need to make business cards. Again, making decisions right now as we record. I need to make some business cards. And so if it's a busy day, just do something small, like open up the computer and start designing it, or go to a site that, you know, does business cards. I feel like you don't even have to do the whole thing. Like, I don't have to do a business card in one day, but just start, take a few steps, get it rolling. It's going to motivate you to get it done later anyway, so that's cool. But just one thing every day.
Even if it's as small as Googling what business cards, like designs, what they look like, you know, kind of getting some ideas, even something small that will literally take you 5 seconds to pull up on your phone. Having a smartphone can be amazing, and it's such a good tool to have. You can get so much done, you know, working towards your goals. And another thing is...
Pause just for a second. Hold that thought, though.
Holding my thought. We're doing technical things with the cameras. Sorry, folks on Anchor. We also record for videos on YouTube, so sometimes the cameras go a little AWOL on us, so just hang in there with us. We're back in it.
Keep rolling.
We're back. All right, we're back. We're rolling again.
19 minutes, though.
Yeah. A few examples of other people that have kind of inspired me that I've seen where I first kind of started thinking about this whole, like, the importance of self-auditing. I have a really good friend. He's a therapist and a counselor, and he told me one time when we were just talking and eating that when he is talking to some of the people that he talks to, it really makes him think about his own life. It causes him to check in on himself and it causes him to do better. And he said that this is one of the favorite things that he loves about his job, is that it actually makes his home life better, because talking to so many different people, he thinks about his own life and, okay, like, am I doing things the right way? Am I treating my wife properly? Am I taking care of my kids the way that I want to be? And that constant checking in on himself, he said it makes a night and day difference, and it's super important to him. And over to the getting something small done, I had a friend who was trying to get, they wanted to get a new job. They wanted to get out of the place they were working at and get into a new place. And she kept saying, like, I don't know, like, what steps to take. I don't know, like, what to do. I want to get out of here, but I don't really know where to look or where to start. And I was like, look, just go on your computer, look up a couple places. You'll be off next week on one of the days next week. Just look up, 2 or 3 places and send them an email or do whatever, or contact them, call them. And then when on your day off, you can go and check in on them. And it'll be super fast. You do it on your computer. It'll be painless, promise you. And then it'll result in something for sure. And I'm a big believer that putting in the work heeds results. You put in a little bit of work, you get a little bit of results. You put in a lot of work, you get a lot of results. And she texted me a couple days later, hey, I have an interview at 2 places on Tuesday. I just looked up a couple places, sent them some resumes. They called me back, and they want me to come in to do an interview. And I'm like, that's awesome,
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, that simple. There are things that are difficult, but just putting in small steps, you will see results, and it will excite you.
That's awesome. It's kind of off topic, but you just said that. I really like... Thank you. I really like interviewing for jobs when I have a job. If you ever have that opportunity, do it.
The confidence you have.
The confidence knowing that you don't need that job. If you've already got a job, it's just great. You can go in there like you're so powerful, and you're more clear-headed, because if you've ever been out of work and looking for a job, the job interview process is the scariest thing.
Yeah, they can tell
ever. You're like, I need this so bad. My kids are not going to eat if I don't get this job. And so it's really terrifying. But every time I've interviewed for a job, that I've had a job, it's like I feel like a king. You go in there, you're confident, knowing that it's like, it would be great to get this job. It would be more money. I would enjoy it better. Whatever. There's everything about it. The benefits are better, but I don't need it. So it's like I just go in and be me, and as
being
long as
yourself.
You is good, but totally different topic. And it kind of made me lose train of thought of what we were actually talking about.
Well, self-auditing. We've been talking a lot about kind of the business sense, working towards your goals. But this is also for like looking yourself in the mirror, looking at yourself. Are you at where you want to be personally in your life? Truly looking down at yourself. Are you the father that you thought that you would be? Are you the husband or boyfriend or wife or whatever that you wanted to be, and that you see yourself being, over the next years? Physically, do you physically feel and look in a way that you feel confident? Are you healthy long term? Are you going to be around for your kids? Are you just shoveling sugar and carbs into your face, and you look forward into the future in the aspect of how you're eating now, and you're going to have diabetes in 10 years? It's important to see those things. A lot of people, as crazy as that sounds, a lot of people don't think about it like that, It's easy for me to slip into autopilot with food. I love food. I'm a big foodie. Ice cream, milkshakes, everything. It's chocolate cake. It's all, yes.
Ice cream, milkshakes, malt. Frozen yogurt.
Custard. I like ice cream, all right? And it's super easy for me to just do that. But if I sit down and look at myself in the mirror and say, look, man, you're getting fat. You will literally have diabetes in 10 years if you keep eating like you're eating. You'll probably have diabetes in 3 years if you keep eating how you're eating, because I just like to go crazy. I like to go wild and just eat ice cream every single night. And it's important to stop and think, okay, I'm doing this right now. A lot of people are like, I know it's bad, but they don't really look at themselves and look at the future.
Mm-hmm.
In 10 years, I'm going to have freaking cancer or heart disease from all of the stuff that I'm eating. You know, do a little research. Find a way to make your week a little bit better, you know, with your health. Me and Aaron are trying to better our lives in a whole picture sense. You know, we don't want to just be successful and rich and be fat and dumb and uneducated and, you know, be terrible husbands and parents in the future. You know, we don't want one thing. We want the whole thing. We want like a good, wholesome life. You know, we want, and I mean, that's what I want. I don't know if Aaron wants to do that, but yeah. I think he does. But so it's important to look at everything in your life and audit itself on a daily basis or weekly or whatever suits you. Just, it's important to check in on yourself to see how you're doing and where you want to be.
It's also important to know that nothing ever happens unless you do it. So it's the whole action thing again, and I think this brings people completely aware of that. Because if you don't do anything, nothing is going to happen in that thing. And it sounds cliche, but
yeah,
it could be the smallest thing. That's why I really like this one. I like it more than I thought I would, is that it's everything. It's building $1 million business, or I don't know, just cleaning the house during the day.
Exactly.
It's do something small that'll make you feel much better about it. It'll get you that much further, no matter how small it is. It'll get you that much further rather than going backwards towards your goal. And it's really exciting. I mean, how many different things it can fit. Just health, family life.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's nuts. I mean, it's everything. Business. I can't think of anything that it doesn't really take into account. But it is do something, and it'll allow you to realize that you're on autopilot and that you can kind of get out of it just for a minute.
Snapping
just
out
to
of
get
it.
something done. Check in on yourself. Make sure. I don't want people to feel bad, but I feel like my feeling bad about myself at times is motivating.
Oh, for
you
sure.
You kind of said something to me about it last week. I'm not going to bring that up because you may not want to. But, I mean, feeling bad, realizing that you're not doing what you want to do in life is, I'll call it a midlife crisis. I'm 37, and so this is actually kind of new to me, and I want to make it clear that it's like super positive for me, though. My sister messaged me a while ago. She said, you sound like you're not all that happy, and I wanted to check and make sure that you're okay after she watched these videos. And I was like, yeah, I've never been happier, legitimately. It's like, it's really rough realizing that you're like halfway or however far along in my life, and I haven't really got anything accomplished. So in that aspect, it's kind of a midlife crisis thing, but it was never negative to me.
Yeah.
It hurts to know that I'm not doing stuff. And when you wake up every day and you just, do stuff, and it's watching TV, sleeping in and all that, and you're not a bad person, but I mean, it makes you realize that you're not doing stuff to get you any further, and if you don't do anything to get you any further, you're going to be exactly where you are in the future.
It comes back to the whole regret thing, waking up. When you wake up in 30 years, in 50 years, whenever it is, and you kind of have that moment where there will be a time in your life when you will self-audit. Just make sure it's not too late, because 50 years down the line, you're 85, you're laying in the hospital bed, or you're 105 and you're laying in the hospital, whatever it is, and you look back and you're like, shit, like I should have changed something in my life. I should have done something different. I wish that I was a slightly better parent. I wish that I had talked to that friend that I stopped talking to over something stupid. Whatever it is, you just don't want to die with regrets, and that's something that was brought in front of me, and it's like, I need to make sure the more you self-audit, the more you'll be able to recognize things that you might regret, and you can change it. If you can't see it, you can't change it. And so that's kind of the whole point of it, is just recognizing things. And on another serious note, for people that may have noticed or may not have noticed, I'm wearing Crocs, and I got tall white socks on. And Aaron thinks that that's a bad fashion choice. I self-audit myself every day when I put my Crocs on, and I still love them.
I'm speechless.
That's all. Well, we're at 30 minutes and 10 seconds, and I just heard my camera shut off.
That's why it's a test.
Yes.
30 minutes. That's pretty spot on. So
Yeah.
it's okay. Yeah, let's wrap it up anyways. We don't want to keep these too long. That last one was 40 minutes long. That was pretty rough.
Yeah.
So, self-audit. Check in on yourself on the daily. If not daily, just often.
Yeah.
Often. Keep checking in on yourself. Just do one thing to better your life. One goddamn thing.
Yes.
Anything, no matter how small.
Yes.
And don't comfort yourself in...
Be a critic on yourself.
Absolutely.
Don't beat yourself up to the point that you're not going to recover and make progress.
Thank you.
But right to that point.
Yes.
You know, you need to beat the shit out of yourself mentally to where you feel like shit and you want to move. You know, get up. Stop sitting there. Quit watching TV. Get up. Move your ass. Go do something productive.
Ooh, I like where this is going. Fire! Okay. All right. I think we're good.
Yeah.
We good?
Yep. I will wrap it up here and then we can do our...
Yeah, we'll reset
Okay.
over there. So, get out there, crush your dreams, do something, set some goals,
Yes.
crush those goals.
Set the goals. Crush the goals. Rinse, wash, repeat, however they say that.
Just stay present in your life.
Yes. Be mindful and present. Thank you guys, and we will catch you in the next one.
Have a good one.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If